Well, okay, so let's go into it. So, Fast Times
Yeah.
at Ridgemont High. I think it's come up a few times already. I know it's a very important movie for you. Like, I mean,
I was trying to think about where I'd written about it at length, and it was the Facebook countdown with Stephen and Jeff Pike.
oh, okay. I should go back and check that out
Because I
actually.
said I have written about the music in this film, but it wasn't on the blog, and I don't think it was on the message board. And then I said, oh yeah, of course it was in that countdown.
So I'm not. I've seen the movie. I'm not as familiar with it as you are. So your comment, I'm going to quote you, is regards to the music. I'll bypass the obvious pick and instead go with Brad eyeing his younger sister Stacy in the rearview mirror
Yeah,
just before
yeah,
she.
okay. Hold on, Scott.
Okay.
You're
Oh, am I
reading the
reading the
invite
older? Am I
incorrect.
reading an older comment? Ah,
Yeah,
okay, because I've got it in my spreadsheet. That's why.
that was the one where when I went back, I'm so glad I would embarrass myself. I misdescribed that
I've
scene.
got it. Okay, tell me if this is it. So the song is "Sleeping Angel," Stevie Nicks, and your comment is Damone tries to collect some
Yeah,
ticket scalping debts owed to him. So okay, actually, well, it may not. You know what? The quote is great, but it's not going to actually have anything to do with what I was going to ask you. In the first
okay.
comment, you said, "I'll bypass the obvious pick." Would that be moving in stereo?
Yeah,
Yeah, of
because
course.
if
Because
you
I
were a
couldn't think
certain
of another one that was more obvious than that. But
yeah, if you were of a certain age, and I was
yeah.
thinking, how old was I when this film came out? I was 20 or 21. Depends on when it came out that year. So you got the famous scene with Phoebe Cates, which
Yeah.
I got to say, I was thinking about it today. I don't know how they got away with it. I'm positive both Phoebe Cates and Jennifer Jason Leigh were both under 18 at the time.
Mm,
I don't think you can make that. Anyway, anybody that's seen the film knows what I'm talking about. She
yeah.
emerges from the pool. Judd Reinhold is in is Jennifer Jason Leigh's older brother. Phoebe Cates is gorgeous. He sneaks off to the washroom to
The rest is
pleasure himself, as George
yeah.
Costanza would say, and has this fantasy where she emerges from the pool and gets semi-naked, and the Cars song is playing, and it's a great use of the Cars song. And they did you see the Stranger Things thing where they made a
Yeah,
joke to
yeah.
that? That
Yeah,
was
that was
great.
good.
That
That
was
was
so
good.
great.
That
They would
was
make
with
that.
I can't remember the actress's name, the one who's in Mad Men and she's in about three different
No, no, it was
wasn't
with
it?
no. Well,
She's in the
uh,
scene though. She's
yes,
in the
so,
scene.
but he was the object of her stare. The guy,
Oh,
remember
okay.
the guy, the really the
That's funny.
motorbike guy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right. Oh, that makes sense because she was staring at him.
She
Yeah,
was
yeah,
at the
yeah.
pool staring at him, and I just laughed
Ah,
when I saw that.
that's hilarious.
So if you say Fast Times and music, that's the first scene anybody's going to think about, male or female. It's just such a famous scene.
So
And then
let's
this
just
is a
say musically that movie. So I should mention too, it's directed by Amy Heckerling.
yeah we talked about when we talked about Clueless.
Yeah, Clueless.
Yeah.
So, but the music in that movie is definitely very time and place. Like it's really a lot of not sort of heavy metal, but that sort of AOR, what I think you would have called that,
AOR is a good. It's
right?
a little bit of a
And a
mismatch.
little bit of new wavy stuff too, I guess.
Yeah,
Or
it starts off with the Go-Go's are used
right,
over as you get all these shots of the mall, and that's kind of a signature song of that movie. We got the beat, but then you have weird stuff like this. Joe Walsh, I think it's Joe Walsh doing "I Don't Know," which
right.
is what Mr. Hand says when he goes after Spicoli says "I don't know" to one of his questions, and he makes a big issue of it. And I was shocked when I found out it was Joe Walsh because it sounded very new wavy. But you're right, it's got to think Oingo Boingo and other stuff like that.
Billy Squire and
Billy Squire, yeah. A lot of the music is just kind of junky to me. Sleeping Angels, a whole other thing, and I'll talk about that in a second. The other thing that's really good, and it's not an actual piece of music that you would find on record, but that when the prom band is doing Wooly Bully and
mm.
Sean Penn gets up on stage with them, he goes, "Hey, I know that song," and he just runs up there, and it's great. So just before I talk about Sleeping Angel, what I was going to say, I was thinking about the film today, and I'm not kidding because I'm always advocating for the film. It's like an American art film. And when I say that, I don't mean art film like Persona or like Godard. It's more an art film like The 400 Blows or Padre Panchali, where it's just got such an understanding of people and such a light touch, or like Jonathan Demme, or that film Heart Like a Wheel. It's just such an understanding film and an empathetic film towards these two teenage girls who get, mistreated, who want boyfriends, and they get treated horribly. The friendship between Ratner and Damone. Ratner's a great guy and Damone's a creep, and yet they kind of make up at the end. And you've got the blueprint for all these sex comedies, teenage sex comedies from the 80s. That's there. And the Spicoli character's there, and he makes the film in another way. But it's also a very sensitive, smart film. And the sleeping angel scene is just very sad because Damone has gotten Jennifer Jason Leigh's character Stacy, gotten her pregnant. And after he has sex with her, he just ignores her at school, and she has to come up to him and tell him that she's pregnant. Of course, he insults her. First thing he says, "Well, how do you know it's mine?" And anyway, finally he agrees to pay for. I can't remember if he says he'll pay for it all. I think it's more like he'll pay for half. And he makes an effort. He goes. You see, and that's where Sleeping Angel plays, where he's in his bedroom. He's making calls to all the people that owe him money. He's a ticket scalper,
right?
Which is is responsible for some of the funniest lines in the film. He's trying to get money off one guy on the phone, and he goes, "Come on, what about those seats I got you for?" And I can't remember who the band is, Van Halen or somebody. He says, "You were so close to the stage, you probably scared the band."
Yeah,
it's the way he says it. And the guy has no money for him. And he can't get any money. And, the song's playing. It's a beautiful song. And he looks at his wall, and you have the cover of, I'm trying to think which Elvis Costello album. What's the third one, Scott?
I think it might have been Armed Forces or something.
It wasn't Armed Forces then.
Not this year's model.
It might have been Trust. It might have been the cover of Trust.
But see, probably would, because the movie came out in '82, and that album was '81, and it's got his big face, actually.
Yeah. So. And you see Annie Leibovitz's, you remember that famous photo of Pete Townsend?
Pete Townsend,
his hands all cut up.
Yeah.
And then you cut to her waiting for him to show up, and of course he doesn't. And that's where the song ends, and that's where I kind of picked it up in the comment that was wrong. She gets a ride to the clinic from her brother instead. And her brother thinks that Judd Reinhold thinks he's taking her to the bowling alley to meet some friends. And then he drops her off, and then he starts to drive away, and he looks in the mirror and he sees her just turn and walk the other way. I don't think he knows where she's going. And then you just cut to her after she's had the abortion. So it's a really sad, serious scene. And I think I compared it to something, probably maybe in that Facebook countdown or maybe on ILX. I said, to me, it was a more shattering look at abortion than the Czech film from a few years ago that's got so much attention. 4 months, 4 months, 3 days, 2 hours, or 4 years, 3 months. I can't remember the title, but that was about abortion, and that got a lot of attention. I think in 5 minutes, this particular scene is more shattering than that film.
And the Stevie Nicks song, it just sort of plays well into that mood.
The mood. I thought it was I probably thought first, however many times I saw it, I probably thought I was listening to Fleetwood Mac. A Fleetwood Mac album track I didn't know.
Take me if you need me, but never